this is something I don't know if everyone could do. It worked really well for me when I made this shift, and I'll tell you a couple stories about it that made it challenging, and I think that made it really interesting too. And guys, I don't know if you could tell, but I am beat. I am tired, and I'm not one to complain. And I always hate when people say, "Oh, you always hear, especially men, walking around, oh, I'm so tired. I'm so tired." It's so lame. But I'm telling you, the reason I'm telling you this is because, guys, I've been grinding so hard this week, and everything I talk about is what I'm doing, is how I'm living. So when I'm talking about hard work, I'm doing it. I'm not sitting. I don't have some trust fund or some rich family who's or a wife that works or anything. My wife doesn't work. I have no family, my no inheritance, nothing, guys. Everything I've got I've got myself, okay? And I'm not saying that is a like a brag or anything like that. I'm just telling you everything I'm telling you is what I'm doing. It's what's worked for me, what hasn't worked for me, what I find is helpful, what I find is not helpful, what I'm telling you, what I hear maybe or what I read in books or what I hear on other channels that works or what doesn't work. Guys, I'm living this. I'm living this. So when you hear me talk about something, I'm doing that. Like if I tell you, hey, I'm gonna be up tonight working on stuff, I'm working on stuff. Okay. So so that's the thing. Now I'll tell you this. I got my seltzer water. I'll tell you it was about a year. I think it was a hair over a year ago. It was like around like holidays or whatever. And this is not endorsement, of course. It's not an endorsement. And by the way, too, I welcome, I got quite a few new subscribers. I really appreciate it. And guys, if you enjoying the videos, please do subscribe. I appreciate it. But I got addicted, like in a good way, I guess, to seltzer water, to plain seltzer water. My kids kind of harass me about it because they're like, "Why would you drink plain sparkling water? It's gross. It's plain." I don't know why I love it. I don't like the flavored. I love the just plain seltzer water. I don't know why. I go through probably about 8 a day. Man, I just love these things. Anyways, when I first, my oldest son is going to be 17. He's 16 now. And when we first had him, my wife, obviously, we're married now, but we weren't married at the time. We didn't get married till 2010. So this is going back to about 2009, 2010, like somewhere around there. I don't know exactly when it was, but it was somewhere early on, when my oldest was still really young. And my wife, after she had our first kid, and maybe our second, I don't remember, but we didn't know at the time, but she obviously had postpartum like issues, like depression, whatever you want to call it. And her and I, we didn't know. We didn't know. I wish I would have known or had an idea, or maybe I wish, someone around us would have known, or a doctor would have noticed. So in hindsight, we know that, but we didn't know at the time. So it was very difficult. So what happened was I was doing, and she's, you know, she's, was breastfeeding, and things were really hard for her. And obviously, women's, their bodies change, everything changes for them. So it's a birth is a very traumatic time for them, and for some women it's even more traumatic. For my wife, it was pretty traumatic, especially the first time. For the other kids, she got more used to it, or what, I don't know what, but for the first one, it was very, very difficult for her. Anyways, to start, I was pretty much doing everything, guys. And again, I'm not complaining. That's my duty. That's what I had to do. But I'm working, and I'm up with our son during the night, and she was too, but so was I. We both were. Because he wasn't a good sleeper, all this kind of stuff. And I'll get to the point. I'm not going to talk about kids and all that, and marriage, this whole video. But I'm just kind of setting the story so you understand. And I was doing pretty much everything, and then on the weekends when I wasn't working, I'm cleaning up the house, doing laundry, washing the floors, pretty much doing everything right around the clock. And then after a while, I felt like it was, when it got to Monday morning, and Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, after being up with the baby, after doing stuff all week, on the weekends in the house, all of a sudden I realized my work was suffering, because I was just flat out worn out. I mean, going 24/7, I'm worn out, right? So I remember making a conscious decision. I said to myself, I said, okay, I can't. Going forward, I said I knew what I want to do. Like I want to build my business. I want to make some money. I want to, get a new house. I want to have new cars. I want to make something of myself. I want to accomplish my goals. And it wasn't just for me, it was for my family too, because I wanted us to be able to live good. I didn't want to be scraping and barely getting by and not having enough money for groceries like we were. And I didn't want to be, live in a house that I wasn't proud of and drive cars that I wasn't didn't feel good. It's like all this kind of stuff. So I wanted better, right? And I realized, I said to myself, I said, I can't I can't do everything, right? I can't. So I figured there's at that point I said, I gotta focus on my work. I'm not cleaning the house anymore. I'm done with it. Now, yeah, do I still? Of course I do. And like I wash the floors on the weekend. Like that's just stuff I do. I'll wipe down the bed, whatever. Nowadays she does, pretty much everything around the house. But this is at the time. And I said, going forward, I thought to myself, I said, if I spend a whole lot of energy, a lot of time cleaning the house, I might have a clean house in 10 years, but I'll still be in the same spot with the same problems with not making any progress. I said, or I could bust my tail, put all my focus in my business, and in 10 years, through the 10 years, my house might be messy, but in 10 years, maybe, just maybe, I can move ahead. And then if I have to hire people to clean my house, right? And I made that decision that if my house was going to be dirty, it was going to be dirty. I realized that I can't do dishes and do laundry and do wash the floors and do all the housework and run my business. I figured, hey, I could deal with a messy house, okay? And that's what I did. I made that decision that I was just gonna, that even if everything was a mess, that I would just focus on my business. And that's what I did. And it worked. It worked. And I'm glad I did that. And I'm glad I made that decision when I did. And I think that we'll wrap it on this. And I would say to you is there are times when you got to do what you got to do. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone says. There are times when you got to do what you got to do. For us, we had a baby. She was going through some things. I had to step up. I had to do more, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. I've always been a very hands-on dad, like with my kids. I've always tried to spend a lot of time with them, do a lot with them. I try to teach them a lot. I really try to be involved as much as I possibly can. And I'd say for you going forward, I'd say find your focus and focus on that. And when I say find your focus, I mean find what's going to be the driving force for your future. Are you running a business? Focus on it. Are you in school right now? Well, focus on that. That's where all your focus should be. Did you start a new job, a new career? That's where all your focus should be. Um, are you trying to get into a new business? Or are you trying to, invest in stocks or invest in real estate? Whatever it is, that's where all your focus should be. And in 5 and 10 years, and I can't, for me, I can't plan more than a year, but I'm saying just in general, like, looking forward 5 or 10 years, if you put your focus where it needs to be, your life can be completely transformed in 5 or 10 years. And that's not hyperbole. I mean, it really could. People do it all the time. For me, it was like that for me. And it's like that for a lot of people. So, I heard this phrase, actually, we'll wrap it on this. Okay. I heard this phrase. I don't remember where I heard it, if I read a long, long time ago, that and maybe it's a proverb, I don't know, but I heard it one time. It said, we overestimate what we can do in 1 year, but underestimate what we can accomplish in 5 or 10 years. And that's interesting. But I do think that I think you can transform your life. I think you can, God, and that sounds like a hyperbole thing. You could get where you want to get. You can make a huge difference. You could improve your life beyond what you can imagine right now in 1 year. You really could by if I mean, things have to line up in a way, but you have to bust your tail, but things you can turn things around in a year. And we'll wrap it at there.